So, Nathan, are you excited to watch The Flash?
Yes, I am. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't really know DC, so do I need to watch this first or?
Oh, the Justice League film. I mean, Flash is in it, so I feel like this could be... Wait a minute.
What?
You know what? How about we don't? How about we just watch the film with just, yeah.
All right, if I don't have to, then.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Nathan, what are you doing?
Oh, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I used to run track and field, so I'll meet you there.
Okay, I'm gonna just start the car.
It's gonna work any second now. Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 92. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Yes.
And today we are going to be reviewing The Flash.
Fucking hell, man.
You look excited to be here, Nesh.
I fucking hate life. No, it's great. Life is great. This movie, wow. I watched this with some friends. I basically went off the internet for about a week before this film came out because I was like, I don't want to see any spoilers. I don't want to see any of that shit. But not because I was anticipating a good movie. Because the trailers and the marketing, I think we even reacted to the trailer.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
You want to get nuts?
Nothing about this movie looks good. But I had some hope. I had some hope that there were some redeeming qualities. And what I got instead was the most... this is terrible. This is such a misfire.
It really is.
I am shocked at how bad it is at times.
Yeah, it really is like a fast food fest of a movie that just tries cheap cameo after cheap cameo and forgets that a story's involved.
It's like going to a fast food restaurant and then they feed you rat poisoning. It's like your fucking brain is dead.
I'm so tired of this multiverse shit.
It's not even, well, yeah, it's multiverse too, but it's the fatigue. It's the superhero fatigue.
It's the superhero fatigue,
Yeah.
it's the multiverse fatigue, and it's all compiled into one. Like, Doctor Strange came out somewhat recently.
Yeah.
This movie, they're all kind of the same fucking plot.
Yeah, very much so. Except this one felt more disingenuous. This felt so like fake in so many areas, not just VFX. I'm talking like story.
Yeah.
The story is all over the place. It feels like 5 different writers with 5 different fucking drafts of The Flash came together. They wrote their scripts, and then Warner Brothers was like, all right, let's put it all together because we got to fucking reboot this franchise. And the saddest reality is like the marketing, the making of this movie is far more interesting than the movie itself. Because like right off the bat, the look of it looks terrible.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a movie
It
that's
doesn't
coming
look
out in
like a movie.
2023. Well, number one, it doesn't look like a movie.
It doesn't look like a movie.
But it doesn't look like a 2023 film.
looks like a
sure.
PS2 video game.
Oh yeah, it's
That's-
very PS2 at times.
Very surprised at how terrible the effects are. Very surprised at how terrible they've handled every character in this film.
Every last one of them.
Because that's the thing too. Like I might be in the minority when it comes to liking some of the dceu films.
Yeah.
I love Man of Steel. I love Batman v Superman, the director's cut. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think that's like my personal favorite superhero trilogy recently. I love them all, but man,
Yeah, that's the thing. You like a lot of this DC stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like
You're
it's
very,
all
like,
kind
who
of
cares?
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care much. It never really caught my attention.
Yeah.
So sitting through this movie was tough.
yeah.
But for you, I thought maybe it had some potential. But then once I saw it, I knew there's no way you were gonna
No,
like it.
it's the exact opposite of what I wanted to see in superhero
Yeah.
films nowadays. I feel like all of these characters have been done better in this franchise way before, and now it's kind of just like, all right, we're winking at the camera because we're leaving. It's like Ben Affleck. I like the scene where he talks to Barry. That's
Sure, but what the fuck was Ben Affleck talking about? I don't know if there's like this famous or this kind of viral interview of Ben Affleck's for
Yeah.
this movie where he's like, man, it's a shame that I'm not playing him no more because I finally learned how to play him. Where? You're in this movie for 5 minutes.
You're in this movie for 5 minutes, and the saddest reality is this is, to me, it's less of like the performance and more of him just saying that to be like, I'm done. I made a great impression. I'm like,
Yeah.
you already did.
But when he said that, I was like, oh, he must have like a little bit of like a serious role in this movie. And the trailer kind of leads you to believe that he does.
Yeah.
But he's in her for 5 minutes, two of which there's this atrocious shot of him on the bike.
I
that
fucking
just-
hated that whole action scene.
That shot looks so
It's so bad. Not just that, but just like the design of the bat suit and everything about it felt so like toyetic. Where
was just
every suit looked like
Yeah.
it was just made because they wanted to sell a fucking toy.
Yeah.
I
I think the gray and blue suit is cool, but it just didn't look right on. I don't know.
it didn't translate well
It
at
didn't.
all.
It didn't. No, I remember looking over at my friend and just being like, "What's wrong with his face?" Like,
Yeah, he looks fucking dopey in it. I really couldn't stand this film. Every suit, every look of it, it just looks so ugly. I hate this film. There's times in the movie where I was shocked, my jaw dropped at how bad this film actually got.
I know it doesn't give Flash a good like origin or like role in his first standalone movie. Kind of
Yeah.
just pushes that to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that DC never. I don't know if they never believed in Flash as a standalone character,
Right.
or they just couldn't write a good enough story, so they were like, no, we need the Batman and Supergirl to support it. I don't
Yeah.
know what the story is behind this,
It's
but to call this movie The Flash, it could be called anything. This movie could be called anything.
it could have been called
Like, It
anything.
could have been called. It didn't even have to have Flash in the title.
The crazy thing about it, because I've been on this since like the DCU first began back in 2014. I think they announced Batman v Superman. They were like, okay, we got a director for the Flash. He wrote a script, and supposedly that script was more Flash. And
Yeah.
the only cameo that was in that movie was Cyborg, because they were supposed to be best buddies.
Yeah.
So this was supposed to coincide with Justice League, but shit hit the fan. Director left. They found a new writer. Then they found another new writer. Then they found another new writer, and I feel like all of
This
these.
is what comes out. You think of as chunks of all of those writers, like,
Yeah.
into this like Frankenstein script.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To the point where, by the way, we'll talk about the story in a minute, but I really got to rant at some of this fucking production. Apparently, the very end, like the last shot, the infamous twist or whatever, there was 3 different endings.
Oh.
So the first ending was in the court where Barry's father gets released. It was supposed to be Michael
Right.
Keaton and Sasha Cale Supergirl in the courtroom saying, "Oh, congrats, Barry, yeah." That fucking went out the window when Black Adam came out. They made a new ending. The second ending was they took out Supergirl, they took out Michael Keaton Batman, they brought back Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa in the courtroom. And they were supposed, "Congrats, Barry. Like, we're really proud of you." They were all supposed to be in the fucking courtroom.
Damn.
Then James Gunn showed up and was like, "All right, I'm recasting Superman. Fuck that. We're going to make a 1-minute joke about Batman and Robin and bring back George Clooney because we couldn't get Christian Bale." That's what we've led to. We've led to the Guess Who equivalent of endings where it's like, I wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is Superman in this? Well, he is, but not the ones who are alive. Spoilers. But yeah, it's fucking dog shit. It's such a, and I can't even blame James Gunn at this because the man just wants to move on.
Yeah.
But he still has 3 fucking DC films that have been made before, prior to when he became the head CEO. So he's like, well, I have to say these are good. Because if I
Yeah.
don't, then I'm going to be called the worst fucking CEO of DC, even though I'm not.
It's like it's a weird like DC's down bad right now, getting rid of the scraps, they're taking out the garbage. And to be fair, the future does look bright, I think, with James Gunn and Superman Legacy
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. But man, this was not it.
No, it wasn't. It was as if they tried to like appeal to every single demographic that knows something about DC. Not just like really into it, but like, oh yeah, I think I saw the Christopher Reeve films when I was like
Right.
10 years old. Is he still alive? No. What? And then they bring him in. Let's talk about the dead cameos for a second. We'll
Yeah.
talk about the story in a minute. These fucking dead cameos. I couldn't believe it. I actually predicted some of them. I made a list on my phone. I guessed 20 things in the Flash movie before getting
No
into it.
way. Could I hear some of them?
Absolutely. I'm fucking opening this shit up right now. I couldn't believe it. For those of you,
You should have did it like a Flash bingo card.
I really should have, because I guessed 20 and I got 16 of it right. I got 4 wrong. So I predicted Christopher Reeve CGI cameo, which happens.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Totally disrespectful.
So unnecessary, man.
yeah. What a fucking joke.
Yeah.
I also said resurrecting actors for cameos similar to the other 2 listed. So I also assumed that if they were going to resurrect Christopher, they were going to resurrect Heath Ledger. Thank God they didn't.
Oh my God.
The Dark Knight is like one of the few
Don't
things
touch
in
it.
DC that they
Ever.
didn't touch in the Flash.
Yeah.
Thank God, because that would have been fucking atrocious. Twin Flash becomes Reverse Flash and/or the Black Flash using Kryptonian tech, which that kind of happened in this film.
Yeah.
He turns into an older Flash. That's the villain. Cameos.
guess.
I don't fucking know. It's so vague, but I kind of assumed that I got that one right. Cameos from the Justice League, aside from Batman. So Wonder Woman was in it. Aquaman was in it at the very, very end. I don't know if you saw that. So yeah, there's a little bit of that. Michael Keaton, Batman, and Supergirl either disappear or just never come back at the end of the movie, which is what happens. They don't come back. Flash comments on the Zack Snyder continuity as a joke, like the nightmare sequence. So I don't know if you've seen the Batman v Superman or Zack Snyder's Justice League in a while.
Yeah.
Because like the whole production of Justice League was a fucking joke as well.
Uh-huh.
They released the theatrical. It wasn't Snyder's version. Then in 2021, he got his director's cut.
Yeah, I remember the hype of the Schneider cut. I definitely know about
A lot of people, like, I love it, but I was wondering if this film was even going to talk about that. They kind of. So, for example, like Iris West is just like, oh, don't I know you from somewhere? Oh, we met here and stuff. It's like that was from the Snyder cut where they
Right.
first met, which that scene alone, where they first meet and you introduce Barry's superpowers, is better than everything in this fucking movie. That 5-minute scene
Yeah.
is amazing. It's beautiful. But anyways, so a few of the other comments I had was like unfinished CGI will be unfinished. Obviously, it just looked terrible.
Wow, the CGI
Looks
is
terrible.
Unreal.
Is this like the worst CGI you've seen this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It makes Fast X look like something out of Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like this is when I don't even want to say it's bad. It's unfinished.
It
It's
truly is unfinished.
unfinished CGI.
The one thing like I was curious how they were going to handle it was the Speed Force where he goes back in time and stuff. And oh my God, that was I
hate the way that scene looks. I hate everything about it.
It looks so bad. It looks so ugly. It was like everything about this film, like every sequence that they make, I hate. Like with every good thing that I enjoyed slightly about it, there's like 50 bad things that like jump on top of it, and I'm just like,
completely agree.
no, fuck this. Like,
I completely agree. Because I also feel that like Flash as a character has a ton of potential.
absolutely,
I like Flash.
yeah. You know what they should have done? They should have, and I was telling my friends about this. I was telling my buddy Matt. They should have used more of the Flash characters in this film. Why is Iris West, Barry's love interest, in it for only 5 minutes?
Yeah.
You know what would have been way cooler? If she helped Barry go back in time. Like he's like, Iris, I know we've been together for a little bit, but like I was wondering if you could help me with time traveling. She's like, yeah, sure. And then she messes it up and she tries to help Barry. They're both in a new universe.
Yeah. Very cool.
That'd be so much better than 2 Flashes.
But it just feels to me like DC didn't believe in like I don't know if they were scared to use lesser known characters like Flash characters. I guess are a little lesser known than the Batman, but they just didn't believe in Flash. This is not a Flash movie. That's my biggest problem with it.
When DC had more faith in a character like Polka Dot Man to be in the Suicide Squad than like the Flash, you know you're in deep shit because it's like I'm not a huge fan of the Suicide Squad, but that movie's way better. That film actually has like heart to it. James Gunn directed it with heart and actually used obscure characters and gave them characters.
Yeah, gave them some character. Yeah.
The Flash has, if you know generally what his origin is, they kind of explain it. They give a little gist.
Yeah.
But it's more just a course correction movie. It's just a course correction movie.
Yeah.
This film's so bad.
I'm tired of the I want to go back in time and then you change the future. I'm tired of that storyline. I'm tired of it. We got it with Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
A kind of bad version. We got the best
Yeah.
version we're ever going to get with Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse was the
With
best
Spider-Verse.
case scenario.
And now we get this one, and I'm exhausted with
Yeah.
the same plot. Like, why does every superhero movie have to fucking copy each other right now?
Let's talk about the goods. I'm gonna try to not be as upset, even though I am. This film bombed. This film fucking bombed
This film
hard.
bombed. I want to read this headline here.
Let's read it.
Where did I see this? Oh, so the promotional budget for The Flash is 150 million.
Yeah.
So just the promotional budget may not even be recouped by box office earnings.
Yeah, that makes sense. They put so much money into this movie, and you know what they used it for? They used it to pay celebrities to say it's good. That's not how film Twitter works, guys.
If The Flash's poor performance keeps up, it will lead the film to lose Warner Brothers more than $200 million.
Which is another thing I'd like to say. This is back in 2016 when they released Batman v Superman, and everyone was just like, "Oh man, it underperformed. It's not doing well." Film made like $870 million. Can we be honest with ourselves? If we could go back in time and just say, you know what? Let Snyder just finish his run. Guaranteed, you know what would have happened? He finished his run, probably 2019. He would be like, all right, I'm done. Justice League 1 and 2 and 3 are done. And then you could just reboot it.
Yeah.
We won't have to deal with the fucking like Black Adams. We wouldn't have to deal with the Flash. We wouldn't have to deal with so much reshooting and filming just for the sake of continuity.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to spend $90 million on a fucking Batgirl film and just never release it.
Crazy.
Like I am impressed at how shitty they've handled this franchise since I think since Justice League, the theatrical cut of Justice League. They've just been course correcting since. It's been like 6 fucking years, and like they've never hit like
Course correcting
a
wasn't
target.
the move. Trying to pick up the pieces wasn't the move. You
Yeah.
had to just let him, like you said, finish it. Some people like it, some people hate it, whatever, and then you reboot fresh. But
'Cause you-
don't do this. They did this weird soft reboot in the middle,
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
You know what franchise also did a course correction, but nobody seemed to like it overall? Rise of Skywalker. Because a lot of people hated Last Jedi, so they're like, oh, well, we gotta fucking bring back Palpatine.
Yeah, that DC should have learned their lesson from there and
Yeah.
seen that when you just give it to different directors and not have one solid vision for this universe,
Yeah.
that it's gonna be a mess. You can't do it like that.
And I get like the critical response and stuff like that. Like a lot of people weren't a fan, but it still made money.
Yeah.
It didn't lose money.
I think it's the fatigue now of the
Absolutely.
cameo fatigue, the nostalgia fatigue. Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal to see Batman and Superman
Yeah.
in one movie at that time. It was a huge deal.
Right.
It wasn't being done twice a year.
No,
3 times
yeah.
a year you were seeing your favorite heroes in a movie together. So it's the fatigue of this. They have beat it to the ground.
They can't even bring in like all the cameos from superheroes. We never see Henry Cavill in this, obviously,
No.
because he's not in.
They got that shot on TV where they like reference that he's busy and he's like laser.
Henry Cavill has been
Yeah.
CGI cameoed more than any fucking actor. It's actually insane. They cut his fucking head off for Shazam. They CGI him for, I think, Peacemaker. He makes a cameo in that. It's like all these Marvel. Just have Sam Jackson and Iron Man at the end. Look at that. You don't have to CGI him? Whoa, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, okay.
Okay, we're trying to talk about positives.
Positives.
And we keep
Nathan, you start the conversation of what are the positives of this movie?
Okay,
I
what okay. Positives? Look, the movie's a mess. Did I kind of guiltily like seeing Michael Keaton in the suit again? I kind of did. For what this movie is, Michael Keaton to me is a highlight of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing him in a Batman suit. It's like some weird fever dream.
Oh yeah.
And it's cool enough to just see him back in the suit, see the car again, you know. I don't think he has a horrible performance in it either.
No.
I just think the way they introduce him is a little weird.
They give him. No, I like old man.
You like
Crazy
old-
Bruce.
Yeah, you like Crazy
Yeah.
Bruce?
He's like, get the fuck away from me. They should have just kept it like that. Give him the beard. Make him look like Santa Claus for the rest of the movie. That would have been way cooler.
That would have been interesting. Yeah.
But they literally give him nothing. Like imagine Michael Keaton as Batman, and they're like, okay, you get to say the line. And
Yeah.
He's like, what line? He's like, you want to get nuts? And he's like, why would I say it for this scene? He's like, cause you're gonna dress up as Batman. And he's just like, that's not why I said the line in the first place.
Right.
Or the only joke that kind of worked for me was the part where, what was it, the two berries and the Supergirl, whatever, are about to get lifted off. And he like measures it and he's like, how much do you guys weigh?
Yeah, that is a good bit.
That's a nice like deep cut. It's not like
That is a good bit. I laughed out loud in that bit, and I laughed out loud when the young Barry is making the Flash suit out of the Batman suit.
Yeah.
And he's cutting the ears with the saw. They cut the
Yes,
that quick
yeah.
shot of him cutting the ears off it. I laughed out loud for that one.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like this film isn't the humor. There's moments where it hits, and I'm
Definitely.
like, okay,
Most definitely.
they're trying something. It's like they got a writer, they got a comedian to like write some of these jokes.
Yeah.
So, for example, like I think the old Barry and young Barry talking to each other, that's a great contrast because a lot of people complained about how in the Justice League movie with Flash, it's like, oh, like out of all these 6 characters, he seems the most goofiest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, you got to have that contrast because he's the youngest and he's also the one that literally saves them from all dying in the Snyder Cut. I'm not referencing the theatrical. So they kind of make fun of that in this movie where it's just like, oh my God, did I really sound like that at 18? It's like, okay, like I thought that was clever because now he has to deal with a younger version of himself.
Yeah, I think some of the banter with him and his younger self works pretty well.
Even though the way they handled the body double VFX looks so bad. Did you notice that? Like his
Yeah.
face was just frozen on there. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I definitely did.
that's
notice
like
that.
that's like if like I was like your body double and I just put your face on my face with digital and I'm just like, oh, but it's just like you can tell it's like
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah, it looked like a really cheap effect.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Another good character is Supergirl.
Yeah,
I think she's good in this.
yeah,
It's
she's
just
good. I like her like confidence of the film. I think she gives a good performance. I don't know, it just doesn't really do her story doesn't do much for me.
it
here.
doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. You have this fight with General Zod, which feels a little bit out of place here. Like, is he the villain?
They
is
wasted Michael
himself-
Shannon.
Yeah,
They wasted Michael Shannon. Any movie that wastes Michael Shannon does not deserve to be made. It's a fucking joke. I think what Michael Shannon said in an interview was he felt more like an action figure than an actor.
like how
and it
long
shows.
is Zod on screen?
It's like 5 minutes.
Maybe 5 minutes.
5,
Is he
6.
is he the villain? Maybe you can argue that Flash's future self is the villain. How long is he on screen?
Oh, even shorter.
Even shorter. So
Yeah.
you have a total like you have a whole film where the villain is on screen for less than 10 minutes. Both villains, I
Yeah.
guess.
Do you think it's unintentionally meta that the villain of this film, his intention is to course correct as much as he can? Don't you think that was a little bit meta coming from DC? I don't know if that was intentional or not. He was like, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this. I gotta fix that.
I didn't think about it like
And
that.
then Barry's like us, the audience, and we're just like, holy fuck, just fucking die already.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the way to go. And then that's where you see the infamous planets where they show, I guess we can name all them, right? We can name all the cameos, including the dead ones.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably saw the movie if you're watching
Probably saw the
this.
movie. You probably saw it on Twitter. Apparently, it was released on Twitter and got 8 million views. So
I
that's e-
saw I got one big cameo
Which
spoiled
one?
for me. Nick Cage.
That was probably the best one.
That was the best
That
one.
was literally the best one because it was just like a what if scenario of
Yeah,
what
and I
if Tim
know-
Burton actually
Yeah,
made that
you,
film?
You know the history of
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, with the fucking giant spider and shit.
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that. Like at first I was shocked, but
Can't
then
believe
like
that was almost a thing, and I can't believe that they that was a
Yeah.
good callback, a really cool reference. It was
Yeah.
kind of like if you know, you know.
yeah,
Very cool.
that's what they should have done. But it's like the equivalent of like if Doctor Strange had like Tom Cruise's Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's like one of those cameos where you're just like, okay, we get it, haha.
Of course, but by the time that cameo happens, you're just like, all right, what's next? Like,
Yeah, exactly. And
you're already kind of just expecting.
what happens after that or before that is like you get to see George Reeves as Superman. Remember him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Do you know George Reeves?
No.
He was like before Christopher Reeve. He was like in the 1950s, 40s Superman.
No, I don't.
He's
even-
been dead for like 70 years, but they brought him back. They brought back Adam West. I can't believe they brought him back. There was like a fucking
Oh, the
CGI.
Adam West one was weird.
Oh my god, they brought back Adam West, they brought back Christopher Reeve, they brought back Supergirl, which was in the Christopher Reeve movies. Who else did they bring back? Oh, they got Jay Garrick the original Flash.
Yeah.
Which isn't based on any actor. It's just a fucking cartoon character running. They couldn't bring Linda Carter back as Wonder Woman, even though she's alive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so fucking weird what they pick and choose, and they like literally picked the most actors that have been dead, and they CGI them in a terrible way. The CGI looks terrible. The Nick Cage one, it's like when you don't see his face, it looks good.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And
they
then
don't
when you
show his,
see
they
his
show his back
face-
for so long,
yeah.
and then they show his face, and you're like,
Oh, what
no.
is a fucking PS2 looking motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Wow. I'm shocked. I'm actually really shocked. Hold on. Let me tell you my favorite scene in this movie. It's the scene where Barry has to basically change back time and sees his mom and basically like takes that moment to like change the cans and stuff and gets really emotional. He's like talking to her, and it's a great contrast with Zack Snyder's Justice League because the editing is very similar where there's a music playing and he's like going really fast, super slow motion. And in Zack Snyder's Justice League, he does the same thing but rescues Iris. So it's like a good staging point of his life where a major thing has changed, but it feels like minutes with seconds, and it's like
yeah. The only time that this movie made me feel anything at all
Yeah.
was that scene. Don't forget the tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's
so
pretty
good.
It's pretty well done.
I love
I
it.
can't lie. It's pretty well done, and that's a good use of Flash. I wish we got just more of an emotional story of for him. Like Flash deserves that.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they would build on it anywhere because this is done.
They're probably going to reboot it again.
Yeah, I'm all for a reboot. Try again with Flash because
But
I like the character.
But you got to do a clean slate with this movie.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, "Oh, well, Margot Robbie's back" or Gal Gadot. It's like, no, if you're
No.
going to make clean slate, like this is what James Gunn needs to know. You got to fucking erase all this.
you
Like,
can't have some characters playing the same thing. Some you can't do it.
No.
Clean slate.
And I'm hoping Superman Legacy, just from the title, Legacy, is set in the past. Make it
too.
set in the 50s. Because guess what? The Daily Planet, the concept of newspapers and shit, that's relevant in the 50s. Nobody
Yeah.
fucking reads newspapers now. They
100%.
even make fun of that in Man of Steel, where it's just like Perry White's like, nobody fucking buys our shit anyways. Let's just cover the sports game. Like,
Yeah,
is- you
I think
gotta-
there's a ton of missed potential by not doing superhero period pieces.
yeah, exactly.
Such a great idea. It's like such a great idea.
Like X-Men First Class did that with the Cold War.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like you can handle that really well and do something different with it. But
Like
Yeah.
Transformers is doing it with
Yeah,
the 80s
with the
Bumblebee,
90s, yeah.
90s, the newest one.
the
It works.
The setting works. It's just we had different issues with that film.
Yeah.
But I could be rambling about this fucking movie for days. But I'm gonna I'm just gonna ask you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What are your overall thoughts?
My overall thoughts is this movie is really bad. It's everything I hate about modern superhero films, mixed into one film, and I really didn't enjoy it. Felt extremely long.
Yeah.
I saw a late showing immediately when I saw like a 10:40 start. Immediately when I get to that scene of him saving the babies,
I hated that scene.
I was like, oh, it's gonna be a long fucking night.
I hated that scene so
This
much.
movie's gonna be ass.
That
Those
scene-
babies looked so bad.
It looked terrible.
That whole scene looked
Polar
so
Express
terrible.
came out 16 years ago.
It did look like the babies. It did look like Polar Express.
No, Polar
faces
Express looked better than
on
this.
the baby. Yeah, it's true.
Fucking CGI Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. This,
And my rating
What's your
is a 2 out of 10.
damn.
It's 2 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of DCU to begin with.
Yeah.
This one was really the most uninspired mess of a film.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the worst films I've seen in recent memory.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. This whole movie's a fucking joke. There's some good parts, but most of it's bad. I'm probably giving it a 3 out of 10. This might be one of the lowest in terms of DC films. I mean, I'd rather watch Suicide Squad over this. I'd rather watch Black Adam over this.
Damn.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
The Rock summed it up for us nice.
Fucking A.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Real Talk Podcast. Let us know your thoughts on The Flash. Are we being too harsh? Let us know if you like PS2 CGI and
Yeah.
those stories.
Exactly.
Maybe we're wrong.
Maybe we are.
Thanks
Judging
for
by the
watching.
box office, probably not.
Yeah. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to your boys. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Brush your hair.
Peace.